At Next Practice, as you've come to understand, we're about helping you scale your business and reduce the drama in your business. That's what we're about. Today's webinar and the sequence of webinars that will follow, we're talking about our Infinite Growth Program. And I'm really pleased to bring along and welcome Candice Swaceland, our Head of Customer Experience here at Next Practice. And she's going to walk us through what the actual Infinite Growth Program and what it has to offer you. So thank you.
The second element of the Infinite Growth Program is the people and talent section. People are the most important to your business, second to purpose. And the reason for that is if you don't have the right people, it doesn't matter how much you try, you're never going to be able to execute on any of your outputs.
Fair enough too.
Yeah. So the key here, and I'm pretty sure it's from Traction, if I'm correct, is to get the right people in the right seats. All right. And that's really important to understand. It's not necessarily always the most qualified person. It's the person who has the best attitude, and it's also the person who has the best value set. So it really needs to be tied into your purpose. All right, once you understand your purpose, you can then select people and evaluate people based on that value set, not just the tangible skill set that comes into that next phase of operations.
So right people, right seat, doing the right thing,
exactly.
using the right system.
Using the right tools.
Yeah.
Often when we create values, which we talked a little bit about before, we will post them on the wall. Yep, you've seen your values on the wall of the company boardroom or in the lunchroom, and I say they become a bit like cat posters. All right, everybody pays attention to them at first, but then they wither and die and become a lot less fun.
Yeah, why do you think that is? Do you think people aren't reminding themselves of why those values are there? They're there, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, it's because it's not ingrained into the actual activities of the business.
Yeah, got it.
So often we set them and then we expect people to abide by them, and then rarely does it come back around into that person's actual performance, right?
Yeah.
Because we've always seen performance as outputs, right? KPIs. Did you do this many widgets a day? Right? Did you accomplish this by this date? Right? But we really haven't seen a lot of people truly taking their values seriously.
That's interesting, because if I look internally for a moment and talk about us, we as a team, and you know this, challenge ourselves on our values, but then also we ask the question, are our values still relevant to us on a regular occurrence? If not weekly, it's quarterly, we catch up and say, are our values sets still relevant for us? That's what we practice, but that's what we share with you as well, that we would ask. That's one of the disciplines that Candice has been talking about. That's what we challenge your business for. Are your values today current and real for you? Yeah, it's a really good point.
Current and real. Actually, we can do a little test. What are our values?
That's a really good point. Let me say, loyal and trustworthy. There would be synergistic and innovative, enjoying the journey, having a bit of fun. What have I missed? Audacious and bold.
That's a really good example of us challenging each other on those values, and it needs to start at the top. It needs to be something that leadership start with, and we accomplish that, with businesses by establishing in our rhythm, which we'll talk about a little bit more when we come to execution, frequently addressing in our meetings, in our performance reviews, what are our values? What does good look like? Simon Sinek has a really great breakdown of hows. All right, so you've got your why, and before you even get to what you need to do, the how, the golden circle. And the hows are verbing out or creating verbs out of values. Doing words. If you go back to primary school,
that's right. I'm going to remind myself.
What does a person that is loyal do? What does a person who is bold do? And Are we embodying those values? And if you get to a point where people are not really connecting with it, then you may need to change it.
Yeah.
Or if that's something that your purpose requires, you need to, either find a way to increase people's capacity for that, or you need to bring people in that will re-energize the business in that way.
In line with those values.
Yeah, not necessarily replacing people.
No.
But bringing people who have that influence.
Yeah, great. That's fantastic, because I think it is a changing environment we work in. Our work life, our personal life, all changes, and therefore our values do change. They're not fixed.
Yeah.
But certainly it's worth challenging and asking that question. And I pose it to you all at the moment. Just challenge yourself on that question. Are our values the right ones for us today?
The next element of people and talent is them having clear and objective information. Right, so all of these phases cross over a bit, but the effect that objective information has on people is profound. Right, someone needs to be able to know every day whether they're doing a good job. Mm-hmm. So one person can think that they're doing a great job one way, and then another person will do the same job. They'll think they're doing a great job, but they'll be doing it a completely different way. Right? And that objective information needs to be related to purpose. Like we said, everything comes back to the purpose. And let's say that person has KPIs that don't connect to the purpose, right? And they don't bring value to their job. You'll find that's where you see people dip off and not want to, participate in their role as much because they're not connected to the purpose and they're not developing themselves.
So critical numbers or critical performance or activities tied to the purpose need to be in front of me to remind me of what good looks like and what it is that from a I guess purpose perspective I'm actually trying to deliver.
Yeah.
If there's a disconnect, that will mean I will disconnect potentially.
Exactly. And we are social creatures. We like to be part of a team. We like to satisfy a team objective, some more than others, obviously, but being those social creatures, we like to know what our contribution is to the purpose. You get people who are stuck in a job where they're like counting beans, and they feel like that is not helping anyone, and that's where they start to lose their purpose, and that's where the organisation starts to lose its purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the challenges in business is how is it that I could possibly check objectively that I have the right people? Does that make sense? Like what is the speed to hire is really encouraging, but you have that person, and how can I make sure that they're right for the role?
That's a good question, and something that's very common, especially at the moment, is I can't find good talent.
Yeah.
All right, so the first thing I say is look inside first, look introspectively first, and say, am I doing everything that I need to do to attract a great employee, right? Because you're selling at that point, right? You are selling to a market where they have to accept your offer. And I think that's been a real change in the work market is usually, like once upon a time, it was like you were grateful to get a job at all. And then you're appreciative you're appreciative to that job. So I suppose you have to ask the question, are you doing enough? Does your website reflect the values, the purpose that you're trying to create and attracting those that are best in the market? Right? Does your do your advertisements connect to the person who is best at that job? Because if you're kind of putting it all out there and putting your standardized position description, it's got no personality, your website doesn't say anything about your employees, that's an immediate trigger to say you don't really care about them. Right?
And see through that pretty quick.
Yep. And the next element, which we've stolen from a colleague of ours, which is hire for the will, train for the skill, right? Circa Kobe Samat. 5 years
coffee
ago.
mug slogan. That's true. So just repeat that again.
So hire for the will, train for the skill.
Very good. Okay. So that will, as in eagerness to be a part of something,
yes,
aligned values, purpose, and then train them in the process.
Yeah. Exactly. Obviously, there's some that can't align. Like if you need an architect, you have to hire someone with an architectural degree.
Yeah.
That's a fact. But once upon a time, it was time, experience, qualification.
Yeah.
That you looked at and you ranked that time and experience and that qualification level, and that's what determined who was best for the job. But now we know foundationally that not everybody has the same opportunity, not everybody has the same circumstances, and the will to do well is completely different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So hire someone who is truly passionate about what you're trying to do, who's truly aligned with your purpose. They don't have to have the most experience. They don't have to have the highest level of training. And then help train them into that.
Yeah. So when you say into that is how we do things.
Yes.
Our purpose, our why, how we do things, and the things as a what, our outcomes, and the things that we expect of them to produce and contribute. Yeah. Great. Absolutely. Which sounds like come and look at our management system.
So right people, right seat, and just remember, people are very smart and they can see pretty well if you're going to care about them or not, through your social media presence, through the way you interview, through the way you evaluate. That people will know.
Yeah, great. Absolutely. Thanks again for joining us for our inaugural webinar, and thanks Candice for your input. That's fantastic. Breaking down those 5 elements and bringing it to life. I just wanted to assure you that this isn't the end. What we intend to do is run follow-up webinars breaking down each of those 5 elements in more detail and showcasing the tools that you can use in helping to scale your business and reduce the drama in your business with all the ingredients we've been speaking about today, which is it's been excellent. Thank you, Candice. I just want to remind you that an opportunity for you digesting this webinar is to reach out to us and message us, because we can actually provide you with a foundation review, or what we call a business health check, to give you an idea of where you sit against those 5 elements. Out of that, you'll learn a lot about your business and yourself, quite possibly, and then that becomes the work that you can undertake to improve ultimately. A part of that is a complimentary 1-hour consultation, and you simply reach out for us and we book a time, sit down with you either face-to-face or in this day and age, of course, over the screen can be done, but using that checklist as a bit of a measure. Very valuable tool, free for you, just reach out. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.